morning, everybody. It's July 26th. We have got all kinds of people at the club today, and we're Zooming as well. So welcome. We're going to start with a video from Paul. Paul, why don't you tell us about this video?
Okay. Well,
That's what I said.
This is 29.
Didn't I say it was at 29?
No, you said 26.
Yeah.
Who cares?
I'll dub in my voice.
okay. I've known some true characters in my life. Some of you guys may be included. And so I just recorded a bunch of them, put it all together into a video. This is 13 minutes, but we don't have to see it all.
Okay.
There was a video I made called Wet Pain that I showed at Showtime last year, and some of that will be in here. But these are just a bunch of people I've known in my life that are characters.
Okay.
So,
All right, let's check it out.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States, for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. Don't turn it off.
For which it stands, one nation under God, all God's children, and we all go in the Catholic Church because we believe in God.
I'll try again. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I think.
Tax reform ideas and the IRS all blend together to me. The IRS is the only institution in the United States where you're guilty until proven innocent. When it comes to taxation, one of the prefaces for making this country was taxation without representation. As long as there's bigger business, bigger government, there's going to be higher expenses. Higher expenses are paid by taxation. I think, yes, there's got to be a tax reform. I don't know exactly what it needs to be, but the IRS cannot continue making you guilty until you're proven innocent.
Tax reform, yes, absolutely. The bottom line is, for heaven's sake, make it simpler. Why does a person like me, I'm not a multinational corporation, it's just me and my wife, we're filing, we don't have huge investments, we don't have businesses, partnerships, corporations, and my tax return is 86 pages long. That is ridiculous.
Truman, or maybe Truman, I think it was the Truman administration, the Korean War, we had a 90% tax bracket and we had excess profits tax. And if you think 90% is punitive, you think of individuals who are in that bracket and wonder how they fared. Frank Sinatra was in a 90% tax bracket. Frank Sinatra lived very well.
Back to the IRS issue, that's the only institution where you're guilty until proven innocent. You could have bodies in the back of your truck, ammunition and guns in the back of your truck, and still have the right of presumed innocence, whereas with the IRS, it's totally the opposite. What kind of institution is that?
Did I ever tell you about my IRS story?
uh-uh.
I was working out of Wickenburg. I stopped this guy and I was writing him a ticket. A box of occupation. I said, "Your occupation?" He said, "I'm an IRS agent." I go, "Really?" And I probably smiled and I shouldn't have. Because I had get to finish the ticket and I give it to him. I said, "You just sign the bottom, your written promise." And as he gets it and signs it, he says, "I understand you're just doing your job, but just understand I have to do my job too." And I said, "Well, what is he talking about?" 3 months later, I get a tax bill from a dog track winning that I'd won 4 years before, where I forgot to claim it. It was $800, and with the tax and the fine accumulated over 4 years, it was almost $500. It was $487 that I had to pay. And you can't tell me that guy didn't make a beeline to the office and look me up and find something.
shoot them again, and shoot them again. What else can I say?
The Supreme Court is a very interesting dilemma for me. I tried several times to figure out what would be the best way to do it, and I really can't come up with one. I think there is some problem with some of them staying too long. And
With respect to judges on the Supreme Court and the issues that they delve with day in and day out, I personally think that I don't want a judge that's so old that he has a blockage in his cerebral cortex that causes him to have a problem with my judgment or his decision about my judgment.
The border fence is a cyst on the face of America. It's a ham-fisted attempt to stop immigration, and it's not going to work.
the border wall, to me, is more of a symbolic gesture from the government to protect its borders. I was watching TV the other day, and it was quite a while ago actually, on a Penn and Teller show, and I thought it hit it right on the nose. It was pretty hilarious. They hired a construction company to build 100 feet of border wall, the identical copy of the border wall. And then they hired 3 teams of Mexican dudes, I think 2 on each team, and they had them one go under, one go over, and one go through. And I think the one that took the longest was like just over 3 minutes. So their conclusion, which I thought was great, was we're spending billions of dollars adding approximately 2.5 minutes of travel time to an illegal alien coming into this country.
Well, my thoughts on the border wall go back to we have high walls around our prisons, and we can't keep all of the people behind them, so it's probably not going to do any good. A solution that I would have would be to not entertain the thought on a wall, but to actually pay people to catch them as a bounty situation.
If you put up the border wall from coast to coast, non-stop, it's fine. Otherwise, tear it down and put up a machine gun nest every 30 yards. That's it.
Okay, we make drug laws against people we don't like. During the the 70s, when Nixon was in office, he started the drug war because he saw that that a lot of these young people were using drugs, and they were his enemies. So we make these laws to punish our enemies. During the Great Depression, they saw that Mexicans were smoking marijuana, so by outlawing it, it was a reason to arrest Mexicans.
In regard to drugs and the drug war, I'm again an retired police officer, which 6 years I worked in undercover narcotics, so I had quite a experience in that area. And as far as I'm concerned, the drug war would take a definite dip if we just legalized all drugs.
I believe in all drugs should be legal. Every single one of them, because there is no way you are going to enforce drug laws. There are many important figures in law enforcement in the world that would agree with me on this.
Legalization of drugs would immensely cut down on the profit margins that the drug cartels have. It would also cut down on the supply side, which would again affect the profit margins, which would make it a lot more sensible.
The fact is the worst drug there is. It's killed more people, affected more families negatively than any other drug out there is legal, which is alcohol.
And heroin, heroin is an inner city drug. It's a way poor people have to relax. And by the way, it was taken by the population in general for most of our history, or at least in the 19th century. Mm-hmm. It was just fine for women to use opiates. In the afternoon, women would use opiates to relax. And now it's a horrible crime you go to prison for. Why?
I think we've come to a point in our country that I think marijuana is probably going to be the next thing that's going to come down the line for legalization. I don't think you're ever going to stop the drug importation. What you have to do is to convince the public, because we're the ones bringing the drugs in here. Cartel is just a business.
The war on drugs is, in my opinion, and based on my experience and seeing hundreds and hundreds of cases each year, is that it's a farce and it's a sham.
You can't drive down the highway in some areas without federal agents looking into your car to decide if you're okay or not. But what are we going to, next thing we'll need internal passports like the Soviet Union used to have. It's just terrible. It's just terrible what it's doing to our freedom, and nobody notices. Government agents look in the car, and then they nod you to go on, or else maybe they jerk you around a little bit because the dog sat down or whatever. What right do they have to do that? They don't have any right to do that.
I walk up to this guy. He's got a tie on and a shirt and slacks. He obviously just came home. He was on his way home from work. He was playing with a guy, sir. He says, we're visiting in the area. Could you tell us where the nearest tapas bar is? And he goes, he looks at us and he's just like, gets this horrible, mean look on his face. And he says, in Montgomery? And turned around and walked out, never said anything. We were just like stunned. We thought it was the funniest thing. It was just like,
Montgomery wouldn't have that, would?
And it did. We found one. But
That when an individual wants to pick up their monthly welfare check, they go into an office, and in the corner up against the wall is a scale, medical scale with a height bar and a weight height chart on the wall as approved by the United States government. So that when you measure how high they are, you set the weight bar to known weight, and in the groove on top of the balance bar, you put their check. Next to the scales on the floor is a trash can with a paper shredder attached to it. So that if this individual steps on the scale, mashes it so hard that the arm flies in the air, the check slides off, goes to the paper shredder, they don't get any money that month.
Wet pain. The term ice water is coming to mind.
I don't know. Wet pain. Wet pain. Oh, after it rains, you look out the window, it's a wet pain.
What is wet pain? I am not sure where you got that question from. I have never heard the term. I guess a wet pain would be falling in the ocean off of the back of a steamer.
Wet pain? I've no idea at all. I think maybe it's an effort to seek out different people's views on situations that are irreconcilable.
Wet pain? I haven't got a clue.
I'd like to pledge allegiance to the flag now of the United States of America, for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, and invisible too.
Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all, forever.
All right, the way I look at it, every time a politician's lips are moving, they're lying, so throw them out, get rid of them, start over.
Shoot them. Shoot them again. And shoot them again.
I think the world's going to hell in a handbasket.
Hypocrisy has no bounds.
I don't know these people.
What do we think of that?
Thought-provoking. Thank you. Thank you, Paul.
He's over here now.
Oh, thank you.
Do you enjoy doing that where you're interviewing people like that?
Yeah, I do.
And do they enjoy it?
I think so.
Okay.
What do you? I noticed a couple of technical glitches there. You guys might have looked. Pilot text.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
A little bit.
That's an easy fix, though.
Yeah.
Paul, when you shot those, what did you tell the people so that they were concerned about where they wanted to, did they tell you they didn't want to see this on Facebook or, I mean, that's a pretty typical comment.
No, they didn't. They said, I want to interview you and tell me what you think, and that was it.
They didn't care.
No, they didn't care. No. The one guy who talked about the IRS, he's never had a real job. I grew up with him in Illinois. We're in the same town. And he was an all-state basketball player. Got a full ride scholarship. But he never had a real job. 6'6", just a character.
So now the colonel, was he a real colonel or a Kentucky colonel?
Well, we call him the colonel because he looked like Colonel Sanders.
Oh, okay.
Now, you know the song, Mary Ann Down by the Seaside Sister Sam?
Mm-hmm.
He was in that group. Playing that song. He was a singer.
Okay.
How long ago did you do the last one? The last interview?
These were all done probably 8 or 9 years ago.
Okay.
Okay.
I was thinking it was kind of free of the turmoil we have today in politics.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Well, it's interesting just to hear like the little section on the wall.
Yeah.
And think that was 8-10 years ago, and then now what is it and everything else. So
right.
There was interesting in that regard that here's how did somebody feel then, how do they feel now, kind of thing. So okay.
Time for an update.
Time for an update, yes.
Yeah.
I want to hear more from the colonel.
You won't hear any more.
Oh no, it's you on?
And you won't hear any more from Marty Camacho either.
Okay.
Parkinson's.
Oh boy.
Marty's a real character.
Yeah. Okay.
That's great.
Well, thank you for that, Paul.
Okay.
Joe, why don't you tell us about your Bill Lizardus? Is that his name?
Lizdus,
Okay.
Liz. Yeah, I sent this to a group of about 55 of us, former Wisconsin news photographers, because this guy had worked probably in more locations than anybody. He'd worked in 4 cities, and I sent the cover letter, which I probably could have read, but it was a guy who was, I don't know I don't want to spend a lot of time on this, so maybe did you watch it?
I have not seen it.
Okay. So the guy, early this month learned he had stage 4 cancer, and he died 12 days later.
Wow.
I mean, that was
shocking.
Yeah.
And so is this kind of a little bit about his work and stuff?
Well,
where should we watch it?
Oh, okay. I just okay. So just because it may be confusing, so I regret not having that cover letter,
Yeah.
but it had to do with I knew that he had retired from the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel after about 20 years. And then he moved to Madison because he had a son and a daughter living in Madison. She was teaching and he was working at a optical place. He moved into just a legendary building for Madisonians, the Manor, if you can remember.
Yeah,
The Manor.
the name. Yeah.
Okay, so he would go. I know he was going out. He was one of those early risers where he gets out when it's still dark, and he'd go down to the Capitol, which was just 6 blocks away, or the downtown area, which included the Capitol, and then he was using his camera to shoot people and things by streetlights. And then he would post those. I mean, it was like a slice of Madison that most of us have never seen.
Okay.
It could be, okay, whatever. So then we had him out to our house, and then we went to his place a couple times, and it's something that I had taken photos because I'm probably going to take photos of anybody doing anything if they're friends or if I'm around them, even if they're not friends. And I had quite a collection of photos. So when he started, when we heard that he was diagnosed with this, I started putting this together. And, you know, frankly, I was doing it for this group as well as all the 55 photographers that knew him. And then I sent it to a few friends who either knew him or knew people within my video.
Okay.
Wow. It's exhausting.
It is exhausting.
I have only two. It was, I mean, so these pictures were taken between 2017 and 24-year stretch from 2017 to 2020. And of course, if I had known about video and movies, I would have done far more video.
Sure.
A couple people have replied how much they just love hearing his voice again. He was revered as just one of the most gentle, kindest people ever.
Okay. Well, let's check it out.
I love to go a-wandering along the mountain track, and as I go I love to sing my knapsack on my back. I love to wander by the stream that dances in the sun, so joyously it calls to me, come join my happy song. Valerie, Valera, Valerie, Valera, Valerie, Valera, come join my happy song. I wave my hat to all I meet, and they wave back to me, and blackbirds call so loud and sweet from every greenwood tree. Valerie, Valera, Valerie, Valera, Valerie, Valera, from every greenwood tree.
When you park it, move the seat back again, because I can't get in it with the seat full.
Oh, I sure will.
All right.
But I'm just going to go out there and do a short loop.
Well, you do the loop around the. It's
Okay.
just it's 4 city blocks. So.
Okay.
High overhead the skylarks swing, they never rest at home. But just like me, they love to sing as o'er the world we roam. Oh, may I go a-wandering until the day I die, and may I always laugh and sing beneath the clear blue sky. Valerie, Valera, Valerie, Valera, Valerie, Valera, beneath the.
So you guys are heading back south in a couple weeks.
The 20th,
Yeah.
which is coming quickly.
Oh, very quickly. Yeah.
And as I go, I love to sing
do you think of that? Music was excellent.
Yeah,
Oh, thank you.
if you could, the one thing that leaves me wanting more, if you could maybe put in half a dozen of his photographs at the end.
Yep. Oh,
Permission from the family or whatever, because I want to see some of his work.
yes, Daryl, that's so true. You know, I mean, I'm a sentimental guy, and I mean, I'm just taking pictures all the time. And the reward for not just this one, but other people that I get to know, and I can just, this is kind of like a farewell, you know, loved you,
Yeah.
miss you. And I'm so glad you mentioned the music because I explained to my daughter who understands music, and she listened to about 20 pieces, and this was the one she came up with. And that is the comment that some of the photographers have sent from, you know, how appropriate it was, because it isn't what I would have picked.
Right.
I would not have done as well. But
it set the mood. Yeah. I think that's the biggest thing that we always think of when we think of music is what's the mood we're creating, and your photography, and then here the guy is playing the guitar and solo guitar, and you got his voice, and it's a song that we all remember. But probably something we haven't heard in a long time, but it was just perfect. Absolutely perfect. And I do love Daryl's idea about just adding a few of his photos.
You know, and I think with Daryl's inspiration, I may send out something to the other Wisconsin photographers from 4 different cities, if you can imagine that.
Yeah.
And maybe we can come up with more pictures of him.
Well,
I got one today from.
Well, that would be good, but I think the idea of seeing his photography.
Exactly. Yeah. Just put a whole new thing together, maybe.
Well, you could do that too. I mean, this is gorgeous.
I would just add some of his photos. I would put 6 of his photos at the end when you're rolling your credits, and then just put that these are.
Yeah, the one way maybe to achieve that, I thought would be to have a photo of him with his camera gear.
That's what I got today. Oh, okay. Okay.
And then do the shots that he's done.
Yeah.
You know.
I like that idea. Yeah, that'd be great.
I was a little bit surprised that the audio turned out as well as it did. The mix of music because it didn't seem that good on my computer, and it came out better.
It sounded real good. Is that the auto? Did you do that in DaVinci? Is this DaVinci? This is iMovie.
iMovie.
And so it does the auto ducking.
I haven't done that.
Well, it did a great job.
Yeah.
Because that music faded down nicely, and then his voice came up nicely, and then it brought the music back up.
If I asked if anybody knows the name Pete Sousa.
That's what I was going to ask you about.
Did you?
Well, yeah, because I know that name, and I was thinking, is that the Pete Sousa that I know?
He
was a White House photographer.
Who said White House photographer?
Yeah.
He was the White House photographer for Reagan and both terms with Obama.
Wow.
So he moved to Madison because he had a daughter.
That's very cool.
Hey, thanks again, Paul.
Yes. Thank you, gents.
Thank you.
Yeah, interesting. That because once I saw that name and I was like, I know who that is, but I don't know who it is. So that's cool.
If you can imagine being the White House for Reagan and then Obama.
Well, just imagine the stories.
Yeah.
That would be the incredible part, not even just the photography that the person would have, but their experiences being a White House photographer and what they would go through. I bet that was very cool. Okay, quickly, does anybody have anything else on that? All right. Thank you, Joe. That was really a nice job on that. We have to wrap up for today. We meet again next week. It's the off week, so no Zoom. So everybody take care. Have a great week, and we will be talking to you. Bye-bye now.